All right. Well, I think we probably ought to go ahead and get started. Let me see if I have any folks joining us remotely. Doesn't look like we do. Okay. Well, that's fine. Well, you two have been using iPevo for a while, so some of this will come as a review. I will say if some folks do plan on joining us, or you're watching this, you want to go ahead and pull up the resource doc. My folks here already have it. Just go to tinyurl.com/Alcoa 8-18, and it'll take you there. And then once you're here, you can get to this document. This serves as more or less the agenda for today's training. There are some links on here. One directly to iPevo Visualizer. We're actually going to watch this. This is a video on YouTube. Just a quick overview of what it can do. And then we have down at the bottom some other links. The Visualizer app, where you can install that into Chrome. There's the iPevo help screen, training certificate, and also demo printouts, which I need to give you all these as well. Okay, so for starters, let's go ahead and watch this video.
Hello everyone, can you hear me? I'm glad you all logged in on time to this video conference. Oh, wait. Okay, let's keep going. Note that the same ratio of the corresponding sides is referred to as the scale factor for the polygon.
All right, let's get started. Let's talk about the device itself. You saw basically how it unfolded there. Let me go back a couple slides. There is a built-in USB connector here, which is nice because you don't have to buy an external USB cord to connect it to your device, right? That stays with it. You will connect one end of it to your computer. Now, if you have one of the newest Apple computers, you have USB-C ports. So for that, you're going to have to take advantage of a special type of adapter. All right, the Apple digital adapters have a built-in USB port there, the standard USB port, so you can plug your presenter, your V4K or the model before that, directly into it. All right, if you have a slightly older Mac, you may have a standard USB port on it already. All right, so you wouldn't need to necessarily use this dongle. All right. That's what it looks like when it's plugged into your dongle. It's kind of a funny word, dongle. All right. Yeah. And then this is the finished setup right here. This is what it's going to look like. Okay. So let's get into the Visualizer software. Now, you probably already have this installed on your computer. If you don't, you can get this through FileWave. I can maybe stick around and help you after the training. Get it installed. It's also available through the App Store on the Macs. There is a mobile version of the Visualizer software, and it also comes as a Chrome extension app that you can install without any admin credentials. We'll say a little bit more about that later. All right. So I am going to come to the Visualizer software, and this is what the icon looks like. Right here, you should have it in your dock. If you don't, go ahead and launch it. And when you do, you're going to see different things, controls on your screen. And we're just going to go through these one at a time so we have a better understanding of what it is that they are, what they do, and how they function. All right? So first thing that we'll want to do is go ahead and set some preferences. Now, if you look in the upper right-hand corner of the visualizer software, you're going to see this icon right here. It's really hard to see. It's got a little gear icon on that. Do you see it? Go ahead and click on there. And moving from left to right, you have the General tab. All right, and you can see what these controls are. One thing that's pretty important here is designating a save location. Right, so you can see that file saving location. Whenever you snap a picture or record a video, it's going to place it into this directory. So for me, everything I take a snapshot of, it goes directly into Documents folder. All right, now if you don't want it going to that directory, you can browse and choose the directory that you want it to go to. All right, that's going to be entirely up to you. I would say it would be a good idea to have it go to a directory that is synced with Google Drive. So that would be your documents, maybe your pictures, movies, that sort of thing. So as you build your resources here, they're automatically getting backed up to the cloud. All right, file name format. This is going to be what your files are named once they're saved. All right, you have standard naming conventions right here, or you could choose this last option, which says always ask. So before it saves it, you can actually type in the file name. Okay. We're probably not going to be using the live streaming to YouTube function. Most folks, when they do this, they're probably going to be using Meet or Zoom or one of those other ones. But should you be in a situation, I don't know when that would be, where you would stream live with YouTube, you do have the option to change the quality settings right here. All right. Moving forward, you got a snapshot timer here. This is one of the more advanced tools that is automated that you can take advantage of. Just setting that timer, the little intervals there. Recording options. All right, so if you are recording a video and you want it to be of really good quality, just click this drop-down menu here, and you can see you can go really low. 640 by 480, that's really small. Actually, 1280 by 720, that's pretty standard as far as streaming goes. 1920 by 1080, that's full 1080p HD. All right, so that's a good quality. All right, audio device, you can just set it to auto, so it'll pick up whatever is your default audio input. You can see I have several here. And you can adjust your quality settings for your audio as well, from normal to good to excellent. All right. We've got slow motion videos that you can record. All right, here's some more live broadcast settings. All right, this is where you'd have to type in some information in terms of the path of where to get to that server. Time lapse. I'll show you a little time lapse video I did. Took me a minute to do earlier. Those can be fun depending on what you teach. You can change those settings here, and as well as set the intervals for when it snaps the picture. And iDocCam, this is for wireless presenting. We don't really have to worry about any of these functions here. All right. So I will tell you that these settings, a lot of the settings that you see up here in the top right, they will change based on the mode that you're in. Okay, so the mode that you're in is down here. We are in snapshot mode right now. All right, so if I click this icon, this little arrow, see I get a menu of more modes to get into. So if I move from snapshot to record, watch how in the upper right-hand corner, those options are going to change. You see that? If I go back to snapshot, I've got some more options. All right, so there's nothing wrong with your software. This is behaving normally. These are just specific to the mode that you're in. All right. So let's explore these a little bit more. We have the first option, which is share a live stream. We're really not going to spend much time with that. This might be a useful mode right here, split screen. Now, iPevo visualizer software takes advantage of not only the V4K Pro, but also your built-in webcam. So you could have two cameras going simultaneously. Case in point, if I choose the split screen option, it's going to want to use my iPevo cam. I have a virtual cam here. I'll just change that, and we will see. Actually, I meant to hit this one here. Select camera. this is my built-in webcam right here. All right, so there might be some application where you want people to see your face quite large, all right? Or maybe somebody else while you're instructing. This is how you would get there, is using that split screen function, okay? With this option, you also have select controls here. You can rotate it. Just click the little rotate icon here and drag this slider. And what it should do, if I'm doing it right, yeah, it'll rotate it for you. And this should take it, zoom it in, rotate it automatically, right? Completely upside down. Let me fix this for us. There we go. Yeah. You have keystone correction right here. So if you had a document and you needed to correct that, if it's just not appearing right, that could be resolved there. And then you have the flipping horizontal and vertical. You can do that. All right, so some nice controls that appear here. All right, and then if you want to turn that off, just click the icon that is highlighted once more, and it turns it off. And we're back to where we were before. Okay? If that split screen mode doesn't work for you, you can always go launch picture-in-picture, and that works. And so in my case, I have to keep changing my cameras because I have, like I said, virtual cameras installed. But you're likely just going to have the other one, which would be your webcam and your iPevo. And this is great if you wanted to record a lesson. So not only would they see what you're doing here, but they would see your face, instructing as well. Okay? We could turn that off. And then this one, this actually opens up a new window where you could maybe have different settings for a camera. All right, so maybe you wanted to change this particular window to maybe video mode or time lapse, or maybe special effects, and you wanted to quickly move over it without messing up the current camera that you're on. It's just another view, maybe another page, if you want to think of it like that. Okay? And then you can, of course, close out of it. And we've already looked at the settings here for this. Okay?
Okay, looking at our visualizer menu in the upper left-hand corner, first option you have is to select the camera. You can choose from other cameras, including your built-in iSight or web camera on your computer. You can adjust the brightness and contrast and some of the other options there. If you make an adjustment and need to go back to the way it was originally, remember you always have this reset to default option. That's good to know. All right, next we have resolution. So at the top is going to be the highest resolution. That'll be the best quality. You can switch between these. 1920 by 1080, that's full HD. That's a good one to just leave it at. And then of course you have aspect ratios over there on the right that you can choose from. We'll set it back to 1920 by 1080. Okay, we'll choose exposure now. This will bring more light through the lens, so resulting in your image being brighter or darker. You can adjust that. It's going to be entirely up to you, and if you dial it in, you can go ahead and check that exposure lock and it'll stay consistent. And white balance is for changing the temperature of the light. You can go cooler or warmer based on your preference, either adding more blue or more red. Okay, and we have manual focus. All right, this is going to allow you to place the focus at the center. Whatever is in the center, you could also set it at a certain point there. And then you have the manual focus option where you can drag your slider either to the left or to the right there. And once you dial it in, you go ahead and just check that, and it'll stay the way that you want it to. Here's a little blurry right here. We'll drag that until we see a sharper image. Alright, and then it'll just keep that look. It won't be going in or out of focus. Alright, you can turn your camera's light on or off. Doesn't really make much of a difference here. Then we have some video filters based on who is in your audience. Some of these filters might make it easier to see the content. You can see this is the inverted colors right here. We have white on blue. Yellow on blue doesn't really make big difference here. Sepia, grayscale. Alright, some might be easier to see than others. Alright, so you have those filter options there. We also have grid lines that we can superimpose on the screen. This works better if you have a darker base or background. I'll go ahead and turn these on. You can see we're changing the grid size. Here's 16 by 16. Move that piece of paper, you can see it a little more clearly. Okay, and you can turn those on or off. And then we also have the freeze live image option. This is good if you're doing a live broadcast, maybe need to make a change underneath the camera, but you don't want them to see you making the change. Just freeze it and then maybe swap out the content that's under the camera and then unfreeze it, and you're back to it. Alright. Okay, taking a look at our quick controls here, we have the zoom tool. This will allow us to get closer. You can zoom in and out without having to physically move the camera. Next is the rotation tool. You just click it and then you drag that black little dial there, and you can rotate your image in one direction or another. Okay, we have the keystone option here. Alright, you can drag both the vertical and horizontal options here to correct it. If your camera is set at an angle, it will help it display better on your television. Alright, you can also flip the image both horizontally and vertically with these two controls here. And if it gets out of focus, you can quickly click the focus icon and it'll reset and focus on your image. Okay, here we are in snapshot mode. As you can see, we have a built-in annotator. Just click on the highlighter icon or pen icon, and then you can adjust the size or width as well as the color. Here I'm just going to go ahead and use my annotator with my trackpad. Not quite so easy. You may have better results. Alright, so you can see that we have selected a portion of this document digitally. You can quickly erase it if you want to. Drag your slider to the right here using the eraser tool. Or you could clear everything that you've just written nice and easily. Alright, there's a look at those buttons again. And of course, if you want to annotate your documents, you can just go old school and use whatever writing instruments you have in front of you, and it's going to pick up just fine. Okay, we're going to look at the document scan feature. So at this point, what we'll need to do is just place our document in here. You can see it's already trying to pick it up. You can set a dimension for your document here. We'll show you in just a second. This button on the right here, if we go ahead and click it, we're looking for a US letter size. That will be the resulting PDF dimension. Alright, choose the PDF option and then take your picture, and then to save it, click the PDF icon one more time, and it will save this scan, digital scan, into the Documents folder. That's where we told it to go in our preferences. So we'll come back here, and if we navigate to Documents, it should be the first one at the top of the list. We'll just go ahead and double click on it, and here it is. There's our PDF that we just digitally scanned with our camera. Okay, we do have the zoom tool over on the left that will allow you to quickly zoom in or out, and that's great for taking a look at the whole page. But if you want to magnify a certain portion of your page, choose the magnify option here, And then what it'll do is it will create this circular region, and you can basically zero in on a specific part of the document. You can magnify up to 5 times magnification, and this is going to be great if you have a document with much detail on it, such as a map. And you can see we're just dragging it around the document, and the focus remains there. The text-to-speech feature will basically, once you use that, it'll recognize the characters and translate that into this little text-to-speech engine. You can, of course, modify this if need be and enlarge the text if you want so people can see it a little easier. And then if you needed the text read back, just click the play button here.
We shall send to the moon 240,000 miles away, a giant rocket, more than 300 feet tall.
And you've had it read to you. The stop motion effect is fun and one you could actually use with your students. Go ahead and switch your mode here. Right now we are in the stop motion mode, and I'm going to create the first stage of my movie here. So I'm using some paper clips. I'm going to make a little animation. Arrange them precisely. Okay. And then after we have them arranged, you're going to click the camera icon there, and that will be the first shot. All right, and you repeat this process for as many shots as you need. And you can see after the first shot and subsequent shots, you can move your objects, and it'll show you where your last move was as well. All right, and then we're going to save it. You can have the option here to adjust the quality and the frames per second. We'll set it to excellent, and then we're going to export this. This will go into our documents folder because we set it in preferences. Okay. And here's what it looks like. Okay, our masking tool is going to let you keep focus on only certain content. This is great if you're doing read-alongs. So you can see we have the highlighter tool right here that we can use. If we click our masking button again, that's going to be the big round one. We can switch it to blackout portions that we don't want people focusing on, and you're just moving this up manually. You can also adjust the width of the mask as well by clicking these controls, and then you just move them up or down as the content is being read. Quite easy. Okay, Visualizer is also available, as we mentioned before, as a Chrome app. So using the link on the resource doc, go ahead and head over to the Chrome Web Store and get it installed. Once you do, you'll find it in apps here, or you could type in the address Chrome apps, as you can see here. And then depending on how many pages you have, you may need to hunt before you see it. Here it is right here. If I launch it, it's going to pick up my default camera. I actually don't have the iPevo camera hooked up here. All right, but if you had multiple cameras, you could choose those and adjust vertical keystoning if you want to. Some other options, not quite as many as you would find with the standalone desktop version, but you can see these are here, and it is quite stable, this Chrome app. You can switch between modes here. Of course, you have Snapshot Mode, Movie Mode for recording videos. You also have your time lapse and stop motion, and then the QR code. It'll read any QR code on your document. You can also freeze it, and you've got your grid lines here that you can superimpose if you want to. All right, just keep clicking the controls there. All right, that is the web version of iPevo Visualizer. Okay, when you are using Google Meet and you want to present your visualizer screen, what you're going to do is click the Present Now button here. And you want to make sure that you have Visualizer open. Okay, so with it open, you're going to select a window. Simply find your Visualizer window. I've got it right here. It's using my built-in webcam. All right. Just choose it and then click Share. All right, and now everyone is able to see all of your work that you're doing. Maximize your screen here so that those who are in class can see it full screen, and those who are viewing remotely can also see this larger. And they have some display options at their disposal within Meet that will allow them to see your presentation larger or smaller. When you're done presenting, just click the Present button once again and then click Stop Presenting. That's it for today's training session. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email, tlarson@alcoaschools.net. Thanks for watching.